Oh my good old photo booth. It's nice to see you back. Hello everyone, whoever's watching. Today I thought I really wanted to make some recipes that I miss from Spain. And there's quite a few, but I've chosen 3 specific ones that's been way too long since I last tasted them. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm not gonna follow any recipes from the internet. I'm gonna go and ask the expert herself, my mother. Oye mamá, te necesito muy fuerte. A ver, te cuento. Quiero hacer la semana que viene una ensaladilla, un gazpacho y un cocido. Y necesito que me mandes un audio, si es posible, diciéndome cómo hago cada uno de ellos y cómo lo hago bien.
Me parto las especialmente las puedes poner, es que no sé, depende de la patata.
Let's just do it, okay? Let's get it done. Let's start with level 1 difficulty, some fresh gazpacho. For anyone who doesn't know out there or doesn't know what gazpacho is, you're missing out. So what do we need for our gazpacho? First of all, 3 to 4 really soft and mature looking tomatoes. The softer, the better. Second, half of a red pepper, 1 good red pepper, and half of a green pepper. I couldn't find any green peppers in the supermarket, so I just decided to use a whole red pepper. Half of a cucumber, a tiny bit of garlic, a tiny bit of onion, salt, oil, and lastly she told me water. She didn't explain or specify why water. I guess it's just to make it runny, not too thick so you can easily drink it. So this is my beautiful blender that is going to help us blend all of the things that I have here. So I believe first of all I'm going to have to cut them a bit. Because we didn't have mature tomatoes, I put them under the sun so they get super soft. My mom has told me repeatedly, if you use really hard tomatoes, it's not going to work. It's not going to be flavorful. So keep that in mind. Okay, so while I'm cutting, let's talk about food and culture. So I've always found it interesting how we take so much pride on the food of our own culture. There's this frantic obsession with trying to make it yours and not accepting any experiment from it or any inspiration from it. It happens a lot with paella, for example. In my country, paella is made in a really specific way. The moment you change it up, even if it's just experimental, whatever, people are going to take offense. It's just almost this drama out of food and out of what people choose to do with food. There's actually this really interesting documentary where it talks about experiments versus originals, right? And it was talking very specifically about pizza and about how pizza, like the Italian Napolitana pizza, has very strict guidelines on how to get it done and where the ingredients have to be resourced in and blah blah blah, and anything that gets out of there is not real pizza. I understand that people want to keep their culture and keep the way things have been made for years and years and years and years on end, but I do believe as well that you've gotta leave people some freedom to play with food. Out of all of the things that we take seriously in this world, food shouldn't be one of those. I think it's really good to take pride on the food of your country, and that leads us to the problem with food in this country. I wouldn't call it a problem as it is, because we're so lucky to be able to go to a supermarket and have a choice of hundreds of products for us. Don't you understand how 200 years ago that would have been madness? Our quality of life is so high in comparison, you know? British food is really simple, really basic, filled up with potatoes and really basic vegetables. There's been a need to attach themselves to other cultures around the world. So for example, India. India was British, actually, not that long ago. Now it's its own country, but it's made quite a difference in the way people see food here. One of the countries with the best Indian food is the UK. I think that if I could say something that I really like about the UK is that they are able to adapt and accept new foods from the outside, and they're not so proud to be oh no, this is our food and you can't make something new out of it. I understand that it was something that they probably had to do because their primary diet was so basic, but I think that is something that I would love to see in other places, you know. For example, Italy, don't take so much pride on how your food has been naturally done and try and look at it with a wider perspective. I don't know, am I the only one that thinks about this sometimes? Anyways, let's get on to gazpacho. My little friend, I think it's too full, but we're gonna try and get this done. So, my mom told me to put oil, to put this.
I also added a bit of water so the consistency wouldn't be so thick.
Okay. Gazpacho in the making. That was intense. So just so you're all aware, if you're ever wondering or wanting to do some gazpacho out of curiosity, usually it is drunk cold, and the colder the better. So after making this, I'm gonna have to put it in the fridge with probably some ice. And honestly, even if you're not from Spain, if you try and make this, which is relatively easy, make it in the summer, because it's honestly such a blessing. It's so refreshing. In Spain, it's always been awfully hot in the summer, and we've had to find our little ways to refresh our bodies. Oh man, this is one of the best ones. So let's try. Okay. Finish. Matthew, can you try it and see what you think?
It's got a distinctive gazpacho taste.
I was talking about the influence of different foods around the world in the UK.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint British food because there's such an influence of everything.
But that's the thing, right? Like, you had to take an influence on everything, because originally, for example, like, and what I was saying in comparison to Spanish food, is that Spanish foods are really authentic and really like from way back hundreds of years ago, and people take pride in that. There's huge food culture in Spain. There's no room for improvement, there's no room for experimenting. People don't like that.
Tradition comes from people making shit up.
In my opinion, not knowing much about this, a great cook consists of someone that has the grit to progress into something and try and do something that's traditional, but also the openness of trying to change it up and, you know, trying to be innovative. If you think that something can be, for example, improved, the moment you crack the code is the moment that you are free to experiment. It's the same with everything else. Art,
Tastes good.
food, it's nice, but it needs to be cold. So we'll get to you when we get to try it properly.
After putting a lot of ice in it and waiting for a while, I got it ready with some fresh pieces of red pepper and a bit of basil. I served it in a bowl, but you could also serve it in a glass or even dip it in bread.
So out of a 10, wait, how much do you give this one?
Solid 9. It's simple.
On to day 2, ensaladilla rusa. Have you ever seen a carrot explode? Welcome to day 2. We're making ensaladilla rusa today, which is translated Little Russian salad. The thing is, it's actually not Russian. I have decided to put it on level 2 because the process will be slightly longer this time than with gazpacho. If you've ever been in Spain long enough, you know that most people love it. Let's see what we need this time. 2 medium-sized carrots, 2 to 3 big potatoes, green olives, roasted red peppers, mayonnaise. Oh no, tuna. You also need tuna. First of all, we're gonna boil the potatoes and the carrots for 15 to 20 minutes. Make sure they're not super soft. They need to keep a bit of the solidity if we want to hold them well with the rest of the salad. We're going to cut them in cubes after that and put them in a big bowl. We will then proceed to add the rest of the ingredients and be especially generous with the mayonnaise. When we're done, put it inside the fridge and wait for it to cool down. Now wait for it to get cold, because ensaladilla rusa is not ensaladilla rusa if it's not cold. And then enjoy! Hey guys, so it's a bit late. I'm super breathless. I can hear myself wheezing. What we're gonna do, and we have to start the cocido the day before, and I have this pot that I've used for the ensaladilla, and I'm gonna fill it up with water, and you'll see what I do now. We need some dried chickpeas. I asked my mom if we could use tinned chickpeas, and she said no fucking way on earth. So I got these. The way it works is that apparently if you use tinned ones, it's not going to taste the same and it's not going to work the same way. What you basically have to think of doing is putting 3 handfuls of chickpeas onto this per person. That's what my mom has said, around 3 handfuls. And then fill it up with water and letting it be until the day after, and that's when you start cooking, and you have to leave it overnight. So always keep in mind that you have to leave it for around 8 to 10 hours at least. We're on day 3, the last day. Today we're cooking cocido, a very traditional Madrileño meal. After leaving the chickpeas in water overnight, this is a comparison with a dried one. They've absorbed a huge amount of the water, which I find pretty cool. There is a downside to this recipe though. It does take ages to finish. If you wanted it cooked faster, you'll need a pressure cooker. If you're not fancy, then a big saucepan will do. What do we need for our last recipe of the week? We will need the chickpeas, duh. We will need around 2 carrots.
maybe another 2 potatoes, green beans, and some meat to add flavor. I've never been a big fan of meat, but I've had to come to terms with it for just this one meal if I wanted it to come off as I expected. I don't want red meats at all, so I just chose to buy some chicken instead. Cocido is one of those really heavy meals for the winter that I used to really hate because they were too heavy for me, and I used to be that kid that wouldn't eat her plate at all. I remember like spending 4 hours to eat tuna omelette and crying because it was the worst. These kind of plates, I used to chew them and keep them in the back in little bowls because I just couldn't chew the meat properly, and it was so stressful. It was just like almost like a contest, right? Like my mom was staring at me and she was like, you better fucking eat that. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with plates like this, but truth is that the more I've aged, the more I've come to appreciate them. After you've gathered all of the ingredients, first rinse off the chickpeas and leave them in the pan. Peel both the potatoes and the carrots and chuck them into the pan as well. Add the rest of the ingredients. They all have to be 100% raw, and you shouldn't be cutting them in pieces. Then proceed to add water at around like 3 fingers above and put it all at medium heat for at least an hour and a half. If you have a pressure cooker, I believe this might take you less than an hour. Personally, I checked every 30 minutes to make sure things were going smoothly. And that's my Spanish week done. Sorted. Hope you guys have liked the recipes I've shared. And even if you're Spanish, you already know this is one of our favorite topics to talk about, so I hope at least I've made you a bit hungry. See you next week.